Yeah, that intro is freaking sick. I'm not gonna lie, you did a great job on that. Welcome everybody to Boss Battle episode number 24. I am your host, Crypto Hotto, alongside Yicon, and we have our guest here today, Providence. Providence, how you doing?
Hey guys, thanks for having us. I'm doing amazing. I mean, it's kind of late here. It's like almost like 1 a.m. So, but I'm super pumped and happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Hey,
I'm glad
thank you for
glad you're
being
here.
here, man. Definitely, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're gonna get into some questions here, but before we get started, I want to do a little bit of quick round of intros here. So I am Crypto Hotto, one of the hosts of the show. Yicon, who are you?
Yeah, I'm also host, community manager of Wonders. I'm kind of all over the place right now, but love hosting Boss Battle. I'm been doing this with Hotto for what 30 weeks now at this point. So yeah, definitely really fun. We're happy to have you here. Let's
I
go
didn't.
over to
It's been
Mizzy.
30 weeks.
I think it has been.
That's
Damn.
freaking wild, dude.
Yeah, it's been 30
Time
weeks at this
flies,
point.
man. Time
So
flies, and that feels even longer in Web3. So
Yeah,
30 weeks is like 30 years. You guys have
bro. I was gonna
known
say,
each other for 30 years.
I thought he was gonna say 30 years. Felt like that.
30
Well,
years
what's
in
going
Web3
on?
time.
What's going on, Clouds? How you doing, man?
I'm chilling, man. What is up, everyone? Klaus here. We're about to have a great show with Providence, man. I'm super hyped to get into the conversations, to get into the bosses. It's going to be a great show. Definitely stick around. We have a lot coming. And I just want to give a quick shout out. What is up, Jackie, Damien, and Beef Basic, man? Thank you guys for being here with us. Let's get going with the show, man. I'm going to kick it over to Missy so that we can get started.
Yo, what's up, everyone? I'm Mizzy. If you don't know me, ask about me. Let's get to the show.
Yo, who are you, bro?
I'm a
Who's
Man,
2D
who's
anime
this guy?
character.
everybody knows who he is. He's the loudest motherfucker in Catalyst, Mizzy.
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
And our guest, of course. If we could get a little intro from Gokhan from Providence.
Yeah, thanks guys. So I'm head of marketing for Providence. I've been in the blockchain scene for like around like 12 years now, and I've been doing marketing for like around 7 years in the blockchain scene. I'm a hardcore gamer since '96, so can't wait for the questions.
Awesome,
Awesome.
dude.
Love that. Yeah, so we're gonna go over the show real quick, and then we're gonna hop into the questions. So we're gonna have three bosses on the show. The first boss, I'll take care of those. It'll be kind of a Q&A format of the show. Yacon will take the second boss, and then the last boss, what we like to call the twin-headed Hydra. It'll be a back and forth between me and Yacon asking the questions, and you'll be scored on each one of them. You want to get an 85 or above. And if you beat all the bosses and get an 85 or above, you will get a trophy that shows that you beat all the bosses. Does that sound cool?
Sounds amazing.
Alrighty. Well, let's just hop into the first boss here. If you guys are ready to go. Question number one on boss number one: what inspired the development of Providence, and how has the game evolved since its inception?
hmm I mean, the story is kinda like a bit funny. By the way, let me start with the backstory of Dynasty Studios, how we started everything. So the company has been founded back in 2011 under the name Logic Artists, and we developed some successful games. To be brutally honest, the most well-known and the one that I knew before joining the team, and I'm working with the team for like more than a year now, and the one I knew was Expedition series. You know, Expeditions Rome, Expeditions Vikings. It appeared to me a lot on Steam, especially in my discovery queue. So I tried the game, of course, after joining the game. It was like completely unique. But the IPs were sold to THQ Nordic. So for the last more than like 3 years now, the team has completely focused on Providence, and it's our like only and flagship game. The reason that we decided to switch from like a traditional Web 2 game development to Web 3 was because, you know, most of team has like amazing gaming background like I do, and I'm not talking about like, you know, game development, etc. They're all game, like we are all gamers. And like, you know, it's kind of like a generic answer, but you know, if you are playing World of Warcraft, for example, you play for years like I did, but when you decide to leave the game, you get nothing. Like you don't get rewarded for the time that you spent, especially. So and also apart from it, apart from digital assets, etc., we were also thinking about like how to improve the security more and more, and also blockchain comes into that part. And in terms of the development of the game itself, uh, if you guys know about the Expedition series, and you can like feel free to check that on Steam, it has like a completely unique gameplay flow, and it's same with the Providence. So we are not like we want to do something different. So it's not like, I don't know, Counter Strike in Web3. It's not like Pokemon with guns, but it's like a completely unique game of its own with a completely unique flow, and that's like a bit problematic as we are just beginning and we are still in pre-alpha.
Absolutely love the answer. I like that you kind of called out some of the games here that had some success, but were not really that innovative and original ideas, especially the Pokemon with gun reference. So I love that. Let's hop into the next question here. At the beginning of this month, you all began your second round of playtesting. How has that experience been so far for you guys? What has the community feedback been like?
Again, I'm like a direct and brutal honest guy most of the time. So the feedback in general is amazing. But the thing is, like I mentioned in the previous question, we are like a completely unique game with a completely unique game flow. So when you just like join to the game, you don't read the tutorial that we place, you just try to join and kill people, you are gonna like, you are not gonna enjoy the game to the fullest. And that's why most of the people, the feedback that we got the most was, man, I joined the game, now what do I do? Okay, I'm fighting people, there's PvP, but what do I do? So for that problem right now, of course, we are like preparing some kind of like in-game help with the people, but also we recently prepared a 4K, like pretty long, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes tutorial video that you can find on our YouTube channel. But again, man, I'm a gamer, like you are gamers. So when I see a pop-up on my screen when I'm playing, I just close it. I don't even read it. So like we are trying to like teach people how to enjoy the game properly, and we are pretty sure it's gonna happen in time. But like right now, most of us gamers are like super lazy, so we just like act like a PvP game. And one of
Yeah.
the unique aspects that we have is like we call our game PvPvE, and the main
Mm.
that's like, even though it's like complete like a great combination of different genres, what we define our game as, like if you ask me for a single genre, it's survival. So in terms of that, people need to learn the game a bit more, and we believe it's going to happen in time.
Yeah, I think there's like a healthy balance between just getting in there and getting your feet wet and just playing the game. Because I can share that experience. Like I don't really go through tutorials. I just click through that shit. I just want to get to the game, right? But there are some players that kind of want to be guided into that experience and say like, what is the way I should play? So I can kind of see how that can go back and forth here.
Yeah, if I can jump in too, like I
Yeah.
wanted to add, it also has to do with how seasoned of a gamer you are, right? Like I feel like all of us are pretty seasoned gamers, so we know how to explore a game naturally, right? And find out what to do inside that ecosystem or game, right? Eventually, right? Like we may explore it for a little bit, but eventually we'll find out what the missions are, how to proceed with progression, all of this stuff, right? Because we've played so many different types of games before and we have a history of that, right? But I can definitely see for like a new gamer or someone that's maybe not putting a lot of time into playing games, right? How they could benefit from like some type of like tutorial or like indication within the game that says, hey, go here and do that thing that you're supposed to do, right? But having testing out Providence and getting the chance to play it, I gotta say, man, the game looks beautiful. Like there's a lot to do inside from what's available now that I didn't even get a chance. I feel like haven't even gotten a chance to explore all of it yet, you know. And you guys are still in pretty early stages, but it was pretty enjoyable. So definitely keep up the great work.
By the way, also I would love to add like one more thing. Right now, because of that reason, we are also preparing like a very comprehensive, let's say, marketing folder. And what I mean by that is like, I don't know, a lot of screenshots, some gameplay videos, some tutorials, and on top of that, like a written guide, so that we can also guide people easier. And recently I was working on that, and I mean, before that, as I was in the development from the, like very early beginnings, I did not notice that how many different elements that we have in the game. So while preparing that guide, it was they were coming over and over and over. For example, like almost every plant that we have in the Providence universe has its use. Like one of them helps you jump higher, one of them gives you temporary boost, one of them refills your HP, etc. While writing them down, I literally got tired because like we have like a lot of different elements. By the way, don't get me wrong. I'm not, let's say, that snob to blame the gamers that, yeah, man, you guys don't get it kind of approach. But rather than that, we are like trying to figure out how to make the onboarding of the game like much easier for players. And apart from it, I entered directly from the negative end, of course, because that's how I believe. As like I also have like startup background, so what I believe is like constructive negative feedback is always better than positive feedback. So we are mainly focusing on that. But apart from it, I can give you like some info. I'm not gonna mention any names. I can give them to you off the record. But whoever Web3 content creator that I'm talking to privately. When they compare us to all other games, they literally told us, man, this is the best game. Like there is no other rival out there in terms of like Web3 games, and that's why we are targeting mainly Web2 gamers for the future rather than targeting Web3 gamers.
Love the sound of that. Let's kick it over to Mizzy. Mizzy, what's going on, brother?
All right, before we continue boss battle, I just want to shout out some, family in the crowd. We got Nick here with us. Shout out Nick from
Yo,
Next
what up,
Mile.
Nick?
Thursky. We got the OG
That's
Grasslow. Shout out Old Door. And then we got McChillin, baby. Shout out McChillin, man. McChillin, he has been an OG of all of our shows. Now he's creating his own content.
Dude,
Go
I
check
seen
him
that.
out. Yeah, go check him out, man. Go check him out. He's doing McChillin Mondays, but he's also like calling them McMondays now. I don't know what we're sticking with there, but go if you don't follow McChillin already, go follow him. Go support his content. He's a real OG around here.
McChillin Mondays is a beautiful branding idea. Like everybody hates Mondays. McChillin Mondays will make it that much better. That sounds fucking awesome.
And of course, we got a titties. Speaking of content creators, that's like one of the most goated content creators in Web3 gaming at this stage. We got a titties in the house. We got
wait. How'd you say his name?
Titties.
ATTs.
Hey, listen, man, that's a story we'll tell you off the show, right? Like,
Okay.
we got, and we already shouted out BB, but we're gonna shout out BB again, man. Appreciate
let's
you,
fucking go.
BB.
Like, go.
Freaking, was on the first ever episode of Rekt, and he's been showing up to every show ever since. I appreciate you, BB. All right, let's get back to the show.
Hell yeah, man! Shout outs to everyone.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Appreciate all the support, everybody. Let's go on to the next question. On your website, it says the Founders Core developers have all come from the Logic Artist team, an indie team studio with over 10 years of experience. Can you tell us more about the decision to break off and make your own game in Wire3 game? You kind of alluded to that earlier, but if you want to go back into detail on that.
Mm-hmm. Like I mentioned, the studio was like, Logic Artists, as far as I know, like I told you, I joined the team like a year ago when they, let's say, decided to make the launch, and we made our launch last year in May at Avalanche Summit Barcelona. I joined like probably like 1 month or 2 months before that. And so in terms of Logic Artists, I can tell you what I know as far as I know. So the team, the Logic Artists has been founded by two of our current co-founders, Juan Ortega and Ali Emek. And it even like, as far as I know, it started like an indie studio, but their games were like, as they were completely unique, completely different, because they were not just, let's say, following the guidebook on developing new games. They became successful, they became big, so they garnered interest from like publishers like THQ, like I mentioned. So they got an offer to sell the IPs. So after that, our third co-founder for Dynasty Studios, Cem Ercan, joined the team, and especially with Cem's Web3 knowledge plus, let's say, business knowledge, combined with game development knowledge of Juan and Ali, we decided to start working on a Web3 game, but unlike any other that's on the market. And probably again, I'm gonna be like brutally honest. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking as a gamer, not as someone from Dynasty Studios. When we started developing, I mean, when Dynasty Studios started developing Providence, because I was not there at the like first minute, there were no, let's say, promising or good games in Web3. All of the good games, like or promising games that can, let's say, rival to well-known Web2 games, has appeared in the last 1.5 years, most likely. Before that, again, sorry for my French, but all Web3 games were shit.
I agree. No, I think you're spot on. I think the last year and a half or so, I think that's a really good assessment. A lot of games have been stepping it up and actually looking like real games. Games before that were just not really there. So I agree with that. And I'm really excited to see like the next 2 to 3 years of development for these games because they're starting to turn a leaf to go from alpha to like playable betas, right? So I'm really excited to to see what's going on with that. Let's move on to the next question here. How does Providence's multiplayer aspect work, and what opportunities does it provide for players to collaborate or compete with one another?
Oh, that's an amazing question, and I can talk hours on that, but I'm gonna be like I'm gonna try to be brief. So, in terms of multiplayer, like I mentioned, our game is designed as PvPv. So the main aspect of our game is what we call slip worlds, and technically speaking, those are our servers. And slip worlds, all of them, when we release the final game, they're all gonna be completely procedurally generated from the biomes that our developer team is working on right now. And you can see some of them in our current playtest, such as like old growth forest, desert biome, bladed steppes. The reference is coming from World of Warcraft, if you guys were playing, as you can guess. So every time you join a slip world, it's gonna be a completely different experience. It's gonna be different from the last time. And it, for example, if you are looking for certain resources to, let's say, complete your armor set, to gather some unique resources, they are not gonna appear on every map. So you need to play multiple times to get to that level. Let's say, again, I know I'm referencing World of Warcraft a lot, but to get best in slot items, what you need to do is to play like multiple sessions, get lucky, because the reason is the loot is gonna be, as planned for now, is gonna be completely random. So you are not gonna be guaranteed on any kind of drop. Another thing that we are planning and we are developing the game on is uh, the game is going to create its own meta. We don't have any classes within the game. We don't have any restrictions in terms of itemization or team setup. So what we expect in the future is to become some kind of like a sandbox setup for the meta of the game. So let's say experienced players or experimental players, they can just like create some weird setups, weird teams, and they can just be more successful than anyone. And we are planning about like two different metas. And what I mean by that is, first, there's going to be the itemization, so you can just uh, place like all kinds of items on yourself. For example, some of them might have like higher carrying capacity. This is like, technically it's also an extraction shooter, so having like a higher carrying capacity might be good. But to get that higher carrying capacity, you need to have like a lower firepower. So that's why the classes themselves are going to be created by the players, by the community. So you can just say, okay, I'm going to be like a killing machine. I'm not gonna have any carrying capacity, so I'm gonna have like huge higher power, huge firepower. But for that, I need like, I don't know, someone to heal me and two other guys who are gonna carry our resources so that we can share them while we are extracting. Or what you can do is like, if you're not interested in the resources, you can just join with like four guys with super high firepower, kill people, but you cannot extract anything. So there's gonna be two metas. First, player itemization. Second thing is the team meta, as we don't have classes. So the multiplayer aspect is gonna be like super interesting. And another thing that we are planning is the reputation system. For example, this is not finalized. This is just like, let's say, our thoughts, that we are even thinking about enabling friendly fire, which means that, for example, you had like a great fight, you killed bosses. Now it's time to extract, let's say, your treasures. and your teammates might betray you, and rather
Oh,
than getting 25% each, one of them just can kill everyone and can get all the loot. And to, let's say, make it kind of feasible, our idea is to implement soulbound tokens, so we can implement like a reputation system, so that if you like betray your teammates a lot, you are gonna get downvoted, so you are gonna get matched with those players by the matchmaking system. Or if you are like an angel who loves to give, then you are gonna get matched with like completely friendly players like that.
so
So yeah, go ahead, please.
oh, I just want to say, so it sounds like there's a lot of trade-offs and stuff. You're gonna have like certain tags or labels associated with play styles for people that are playing in the game. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yep. I mean, we don't want to restrict players at all. Like they can play however they want, they can create however they want. Like, and we mean that. For example, for the homesteads are like gonna be players basis homes, and right now, and we even like disclose that on our Twitter, we are working on a modular building system, so you can build a home like however you like. And of course in the future we are gonna implement stuff like, I don't know, trophies, let's call them like achievement NFTs, and you can showcase them in your home, you can invite your friends, you can use it like a social hub if you want. And of course, we are also planning, and this is some kind of like an alpha that we are not mentioning a lot because it's not finalized. And like I mentioned, the first step of our game, Homestead, your base. Second step is the real fighting zone, which we call Slip Post, procedurally generated. And the third step that we are planning right now is what we call internally guild outposts. So they are not finalized yet, but how they are going to act is they are going to be social hubs for bigger communities such as DAOs, esports teams, guilds, etc. And it's going to have a lot of utilities that I would love to mention, but I cannot right now.
Ooh, just to go back to what you were talking about, where you're getting loot and there's friendly fire on, but then the trade-off is if you do betray, now you're flagged as like this anti-hero vigilante kind of thing. That just screams content to me, which I can't wait to like see people do. So I just love this kind of conversation going. Cloud, I see you're dying to talk.
Well, I'm just like a lot of ideas are flowing right now for me, and I
Yeah.
love this type of stuff, right? Because this isn't when you know a game is going to be fun, right? When there's a lot of content possibilities inside of it, right? So, like, I see this being shaped into like even guilds inside the game, right? Like, imagine having a guilds where everybody in there has that reputation of like being, like we're gonna go in there and murder everyone. We're outlaws type of people, right? Like, we don't care if we're all in here to make money basically and extract as much loot as possible, right? Like that would be cool to see, like different guilds forming inside Providence. But also, I can see what Goken was going over earlier. I could also see it helping shape the competitiveness inside Providence as well. So really cool, man, and I'm super excited for it because I think it's going to be super unique to have the PvP VE component with all of this other little integrations included as well, right? Like the reputation system, the friendly fire, because it's going to get, it almost feels like an open world in there. So it's going to get pretty hectic once you have a lot of player base in there just kind of going at it. So I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. So yeah, man.
It
Gonna be
reminds
cool.
me. It reminds me a lot of WoW. I did play the Shadow WoW, and the way that he was describing people being flagged for friendly fire and extracting and things like that really reminds me of this honorable kills inside of the earlier expansions in WoW. And this is obviously like way more advanced in that system, but kind of seeing like a social structure come to life within an open world concept like this is sick.
Yeah.
Um,
The reputation system reminds me of Red Dead Redemption. When you like decide to
yeah,
be like a bad person inside
yep.
town or like go like do stuff that is not allowed, you get a reputation thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And for me as a gamer, it also resembles to Ultima Online. Like, there was like a player killer PK system in Ultima Online. If you kill like, I don't know, it was five, I guess. So if you kill 5 players, you become tagged as like PK, so everyone can attack you. So I mean, for some people it was super cool, like rather than having like a blue name bar, you can have like a red name bar, and you stand out of the crowd. It means that you are dangerous. So for some people, having low reputation might be something to brag about.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely. Absolutely. It allows people to just kind of like build their own personality inside your game. So I love it, man.
All right, let's hop on to the last question here, boss number one. Before we do that, I do want to mention use Catalyst 20 at Kushi Dreams. So if you guys don't know what that banner is at the bottom, we do have a discount code for you guys to use. If you want to get some Kushi Dream products, use Catalyst 20, you get 20% off your order.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
Also, I do want to mention be on the lookout for the comment section on the live stream because Damon will be posting the poll on boss number one. How did Gokun did here on boss number one? But let's go into the question. So, what role do resources and crafting play in progression in Providence? How can players usually utilize them to their advantage? I think you alluded to that as well.
Mhm. I mean, for that end, I cannot tell you what our developers think, but I can tell from my ideas how it's gonna look like in terms of like what's going on. Let's say in our like sprint calls, internal ones. So how I envision the items are gonna look like is it's gonna be similar to Diablo in my opinion, because like I mentioned, we need some kind of randomization to make the classes system work. For example, imagine it like that. Uh, you can just have like a huge axe, but if it has like, even if it has like super high DPS, if you have like intelligence on that, it's mostly useless for barbarian, for example. Like, imagine it like that. So there is gonna be like items of the same quality, even maybe like same name, but as they are gonna have different stats on them, it's gonna make the game completely different. Like all of them are gonna have like different value on the market. Because another thing that we are focusing with Providence is like a complete the player-driven economy. As you guys know, we didn't release a single NFT. We promised to never meddle with the in-game economy, so it's gonna be true, like a true free-to-play game with a completely player-driven economy. So those loots are gonna play a huge part because we want what people, let's say, farm or like I don't know. If you want to get a single item and you farm for like I don't know 20 times, uh, finally you get it, we want them to be valuable. So how the items are going to look like is we have a thing called blueprint system. So for example, when you join the slip worlds, you can kill mobs, you can kill bosses, and we are thinking about like a vault system. It's going to be like the dungeon system. Again, I'm gonna mention World of Warcraft. It's because I spent years playing World of Warcraft, and anything resembles me through like World of Warcraft. So it's gonna be like the dungeon system, but there is not gonna be like a loading screen or something. Imagine like a maybe like a huge cave or something. You join, there's gonna be a special boss, and there's gonna be a special chest at the end of it. Of course, teams are gonna be fighting amongst them to get that loot. So when you get like loot from like mobs, bosses, chests, vaults, etc., they are gonna be blueprints. So those blueprints, you can extract them to your base to define them. And after you define them, you can use your resources to craft that item that appears there. So, but another Ultima Online aspect of the game that we have is like when you are on Sleep Worlds, as long as, I mean, until you extract the items that you have on yourself, whenever you die, you lose everything. So there is like a high risk, high reward kind of thing when you are approaching a boss, when you are getting into a vault, when you are engaging into PvP. So players need to be like super careful on that end. And in terms of like I mentioned the itemization, I mentioned the weapons. Another thing that we are planning is nested NFTs. So for example, just making things up now, uh, you have like a blueprint for an assault rifle, you crafted it, you loved it, then you can have another drop. Let's imagine it's gonna be like a sniper scope, so you merge them together, it becomes like a sniper assault rifle. Then imagine that you have another drop which is gonna be like extended magazine, so you merge them again, so it becomes a assault rifle, assault sniper rifle with an extended magazine, or like I don't know, higher firepower, higher fire rate, etc. And those things are gonna be also randomized. And you can either sell them as a single NFT, merge by merging them as a complete unique NFT, or you can just like separate them and sell them as parts. Or another thing that we are planning is again World of Warcraft, like disenchanting system. So for like items you crafted, you can just disenchant them to get like a certain percentage of the resources that you used back. Or if you don't want to sell them in marketplace, you can just disenchant them.
Love that answer. My mind is just running right now with like endless possibilities and imagination on like what you just spoke on. So can't wait to get my hands on this game, to be honest. But yeah, the poll is up, guys. Let's see how much time. Oh, it just expired. So we'll reveal, like I said, we'll reveal all the grades at the end here. But we'll hop into the second boss, and Yai Khan's going to take that away.
Yeah, let's get started. So, straight into it, how does the unique survival on a loop experience offered by Providence differ from traditional survival games?
Mhm. What we mean by survival on a loop is mainly about our procedurally generated slip world system plus the ability to extract the items, for example, in the middle of the game. For example, what you can do is, okay, you are at your homestead, you choose a server, you join with your team, and I don't know. By the way, as a pre-info, in the end game, we plan each slip world to be alive for 3 hours because that's based on our lore, which is there is like an man-made, or let's call that alien-made black hole, which we call the singularity. It's an industrial building with unknown origins. So the planets that we call slip worlds are drifting into it. So based on that, technically speaking, our servers are gonna be alive for 3 hours. During those 3 hours, players need to land on the planet, fight, extract their resources, and leave the planet before it gets sucked into the black hole. So for that, we are also thinking about another thing, which is like for the last 15 minutes, for example, it's gonna be again high risk, high reward thing. So there's gonna be like better loot, better drops, better drop rates, etc. But of course, it's gonna be hard to extract during that time. In terms of survival on a loop, that's what we call in terms of gameplay. So at your homestead, you join during those 3 hours, you play for 30 minutes, let's say a session with your team, you extract your resources, and then you can join back to the same planet. Because as long as there's a slot for a team there, and we plan our servers to be either 24 or 32 people in teams of four, so you can just join with your team, extract, join with your team again, and extract more. So that's what we call survival on a loop.
Awesome, awesome. Got it. So in this current playtest, you have 4 loadouts. Each have their own weapon and armor. Can you tell us what those are called and just kind of like brief overview of them? And then which one's your favorite?
Oof, I mean, I don't even know if I can count them all. We have I don't even know the like exact names of the weapons. We have railgun, at least it looks like railgun. We have assault rifle, we have grenade launcher, and we have shotgun. Four, as far as I know. And my favorite is still assault rifle because I'm not like a good aiming guy. I'm kind of getting old. I used to be like a professional Counter-Strike player back when there was no esports or there was no professional esports. So like around like 2004, 2005, I was kind of like a bit of a pro. But right now I cannot aim, so I'm more like a either grenade launcher or spray and
Same.
pray type of
Yeah.
guy.
I was using a lot of the rail gun inside the game. The only problem I had is like once they get kind of close to you, it's a little bit difficult to, aim quickly enough to get them. So I resorted back to the assault rifle as well. Also, there's like a big climbing mechanism inside Providence, like where you can get into some pretty convenient spots. So if you have a rail gun and you can get up high into one of the trees or something like that with the little teleportation cubes that you guys have, it can get pretty cool, man.
Yep. I mean, if you are good at aiming, yeah, it gets good.
Yeah, exactly.
But for me, I'm just gonna let people know where I am. So
Nice.
Perfect, perfect. Let's keep moving. So one of the main objectives in the game is gathering the resources, and some of the larger ones have to be processed in the slip world. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that works?
mhm. We have different tiers of resources in the Slipworlds. For example, it's also based on our game flow. Uh, in Slipworlds, like I mentioned, there's gonna be like 24 or 32 players total in teams of four, so 6 or 8 teams. And these teams start in different zones, like separate from each other. Imagine them like edges of the world. And our map is like 5 kilometers to 5 kilometers big, so it's like a huge map. Each slip world is huge. So in our game flow, usually in the maybe like first like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, there is like a very small chance that you are gonna encounter another player. So you just gather the resources around you. Maybe if you want, if you can find the landing pad, you can extract your resources. But after that, if you want to, let's say, harvest and extract higher value resources, they usually appear like one or two spots on the map. So we kind of force players for PvP there. So and also, like I mentioned, we have like a lot of different biomes that our development team is working on, and survival aspects comes into play there. Right now in our playtest, we kind of disabled them because we wanted like faster gameplay for the GDC. But at the like in our previous playtest, in our and also in our next playtest, how it looks like is, for example, in cold zones you cannot stay for a long time because you are gonna get freeze to death. There are like some low oxygen areas. There are some areas with like extreme gravity. So either you need to itemize yourself to be, let's say, to increase your chance of survival in those biomes, or you can just like use the shards that you can craft within the slip worlds. By the way, another system that we implemented recently is the shard system. So how shards look like is when you kill monsters, when you extract some certain resources, you earn a resource called Memoria. And Memoria, the Memoria that you collect is only valid for the session that you are playing at that moment. So if you leave the planet, they reset. And using that Memoria on the slip worlds, what you can do is you can find structures that we call forges, you know, the upside down triangles, maybe you remember the screenshots. Those forges allow you to craft like very unique gems that you can place within your items and within your weapons. So right now, what they do is they usually increase your firepower, your HP, etc. But how we are planning at the end game, of course, this is not finalized as we are still like developing the game. How we envision that is like we want those shards to give you unique abilities, and we might even randomize them. What I mean by unique abilities is, for example, you like when you join the slippers, those shards are gonna be generated automatically. So imagine that you are gonna put a gem into your shotgun. It's gonna make your shotgun into like a machine rifle, for example. Rather than shooting like twice a second, you are gonna be able to shoot maybe like 10 times a second with the same abilities that the shotgun has. So we want them to be completely unique, completely different, and maybe even randomized.
Gotcha. Awesome. Okay, a lot of info there. Great. So next, we're gonna ask, can you discuss the importance of building bases? So I've actually I just binged Fallout and started playing Fallout 76. Bases and building bases in games. I'm all into that right now. So
Hell yeah.
let's talk that in Providence.
Yeah, I kind of skipped that question. So, in terms of building, first, like I mentioned, in our homestead, your safe haven, what you are gonna have is like a modular building system. So you can just like craft your home however you like. So you can place your crafting stations however you like. You can design it however you like. Of course, we are planning to implement some kind of NFTs into that. What I mean by that is, if you are like a Bored Ape holder, you can just like showcase it on your wall or something. We have like some cosmetic plans like that. And but that's again, the crafting that you do on your homestead is mainly gonna be cosmetic and, let's say, to showcase your skills to your friends. Sorry. But the actual crafting in the slip worlds is like, for example, there are the higher resources that I previously spoke about. They need to be processed within the planet to be able to extract it to your homestead. So what you need to do is like first, we have like only a few buildings for the pre-alpha right now, but in the end we are gonna enrich the, let's say, building mechanism a bit more. Right now, what you can do is like to build a base, you need to first build a stabilization field. Sorry for that. So after that, you need to, for example, build a processor so that, for example, the bigger resources that you can carry around with your gravity gun can be harvested. Because, you know, the huge tree logs, for example, you cannot put it into your inventory. They need to be processed first. Same with like true wood logs or like Vivianite. Those are like the higher tier resources that we have in the game. Apart from it, we also have something called growth chamber, which kind of refreshes your rebirth location after you die. So again, you can build a base based on that. You can place containers, and in the future, in terms of building, what we are planning is, and we kind of gave like a sneak peek in our homestead, is vehicles that you can drive. For example, in your homestead, you see a truck right on where you start. So that truck is meant to be in the sleep worlds so that you can carry a lot of resources with you and with your team. So there's going to be a lot more building aspect in our, let's say, upcoming build. But for now, it's just like a taste of them.
Dude,
Awesome.
I love the idea of incorporating vehicles, or like, continue to add vehicles, because that was the first thing I saw when I logged into the game was the truck in the home base, and I just wanted to drive it everywhere, but really cool that you guys are doing that.
Just want to shout out the poll. It's got about 2.5 minutes left. If you haven't voted, go on there and do so. We are just now finishing the second boss, so we're going to go to Hado. He's going to explain the two-headed Hydra. We'll go into it.
All right. So, question number one: how does the use of blockchain technology and Providence redefine the free-to-play gaming experience, and what advantages does it offer compared to traditional gaming models?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. So basically, how does blockchain tech offer a different experience in Providence that you would have normally in like a traditional gaming model in terms of playing free to play?
Uh-huh. To be honest, in my opinion, it doesn't define how free-to-play model works in traditional gaming. Apart from, there are like some true free-to-play games. As an example, for example, League of Legends is a true free-to-play game because, you cannot pay to win. What you buy is like usually cosmetic. The company, of course, like they do some shady things with skins, but I'm not gonna mention that. What we mean by that is like, in Web3 scene, all the games that has been released before, and even though like all the games that are upcoming in like this year or next year, what they did was I mean, before they even had a playable, they had an NFT, or they even like released their tokens before the playable, and people fall for that. And the thing is, most of those teams cannot deliver what was promised in the beginning. So we did a completely different approach. What we did was we are a completely VC backed company. So we didn't rely on, let's say, milking our users. We did rely on our investor money. And the reason that they invested us from like 3-4 years ago was because of the background of our team. So what we are doing differently is we didn't sell any NFTs, and we are not gonna sell any NFTs, at least the ones that are gonna meddle with the like in-game mechanics or in-game economy. So we are never gonna sell overpowered weapons. We are not gonna sell resources by ourselves. So to be brutally honest, there is gonna be pay to win aspect, but that money is not gonna go into our pockets. So rather than farming for like 12 hours, you can just go to our marketplace and you can buy resources from another player, and this is completely fair and completely acceptable. So we are not gonna meddle with the in-game economy. It's completely gonna be player driven. So that's our difference.
I personally love that answer. You're speaking to my ears right now. It's like music to my ears. I personally love that, but some people might have some contention with that. But I love that answer. Thought you're muted.
Sorry, I just noticed that. I'm right there with you, brother. I personally love it as well. I think allowing a player economy to naturally form within your game is the key. Like what Missy's putting into the chat, peer-to-peer decentralization, right? Like that's freaking awesome, dude. And like you said, like that's not the team intervening or creating that within the game. That's just player to player and them exploring what are valuable assets, what are things that they're willing to grind for, what are things that they're just willing to buy and purchase from another player that put in that time, right? So I think that's all great, man. I'm here for it.
That's kind of like speaking to the sweat economy model that Izzy likes to talk about. So I absolutely love that. Like,
well,
gamers,
also
it's the get good economy, bro.
sweat economy, get good. You have so many phrases, bro. I can't keep up, man.
Well,
I don't
listen,
know
also
what's
like
the phrase of the week.
not every player can grind for like 12 hours or whatever, you know? So
True.
like this is an option for everybody to kind of have like the same opportunities to play at whatever level they want to be in both at, you know? So that's really cool, man. I love that you guys are approaching it that way.
All right, let's pass it over to Icon for the second question.
Awesome. Yeah. How does the game's combat system work, and what strategies can players employ to overcome the various challenges they'll face?
How does the game's what system work? Sorry, I couldn't get it.
No, it's okay. How does the game's combat system work?
Huh. Hard question. So, I mean, we have a lot of variables with the combat system. So, like I mentioned, this is a PvPvE game. So, rather than having like a direct combat system, the game is mainly focused on survival. What I mean by that is, uh, we are not like an open world MMORPG, but still each slip world is 5 kilometers to 5 kilometers. So even when you think that you are completely safe and you approach a boss with your team of four, you can like ganked while you are fighting. So you are gonna fight like let's say toe and nails with the boss, but even though you think you are safe, there might be teams around. They can even wait until you kill the boss to get the loot because it's not about killing the boss, it's about extracting the loot. So the game's combat system is gonna be like a lot uh, stealth, sneaky kind of thing rather than having like direct combat. Also, there is a lot of environmental elements that you can use to your advantage within the slipworlds. For example, a taste of that we implemented recently is a plant called Nitrum. With your gravity gun, you can just like carry those plants called Nitrums, the spiky red flowers. Maybe you remember it from the playtest. If you step on them, they explode. But apart from it, if you use your gravity gun, you can just carry them around and throw it to other people as like a hand grenade, for example. And we have like the maglock system, like we spoke earlier. It acts like like the grappling hook in Just Cause, for example. And I don't know if it has been implemented yet in the current playtest, but those maglock points are gonna be craftable. So, for example, you build a base, then you can build like 20 maglock hooking points to the valuable resource so that you can fast travel between them. So those maglocks that appear, let's say, I mean, they are not going to appear naturally, but let's call them the placed on the map. Those maglocks plus the maglocks that you can craft are going to give you a lot of competitive advantage because it's going to increase your mobility a lot. So how we envision like the end game combat is going to look like, we want, to be honest, we want everyone to enjoy because that was one of the first questions that I asked the co-founders before joining the team. I asked them, man, look, I'm getting old. Like, will I be able to have fun playing this game? And what I mean by that is, man, like I told you, I suck at aiming now. But for example, I still have fun playing Team Fortress. Why? Because either I get a pyro, W mouse one, I just play like a stupid guy, or I can just get a demo man and shoot around and still kill people. And I still have a lot of fun. So we want Providence to be like that. So if you, of course, if you are like super good at aiming, you are like an esports player, you are gonna have your perks, of course. Like you are gonna shoot better than everyone else, and of course you are gonna do more damage. But if you suck at aiming, you can still have fun. And maybe, like I mentioned, with the team meta that our players and our community are gonna create, maybe there are gonna be some roles that don't even need to fight. They are just gonna be mules that are gonna carry resources, or maybe they are gonna be healers just supporting their teammates. So it's gonna be like a sandbox structure. It also applies to the fighting mechanics of the game. So we are gonna leave it to the players to create the whole meta of the game.
That's freaking
Perfect for me.
beautiful.
I can't aim, so I'll be the support, the non-shooting
Come
class.
on, Jaika, man.
I mean, that's why I like parallel. That's why I like card games, and I'm digging Wonders because it's top down. It's not really aiming. So
Well, one thing I like what Goken said is that is building a entry for all types of player, right, and all types of game playing styles, right? Because a beautiful example, by the way, with Team Fortress, I absolutely love that title. It's one of my favorite games of all times, So like, and that game has an entry level for all types of player. You get me? So really, really cool, man. Oh, Justin Lucas saying Gohan is the best, showing some love. What is up, Justin? Thank you for being here, bro.
Hey, Justin.
Gohan is the best, and so is Gokhan.
Yeah, for real. Yo.
And
Spell check, my
Goku.
guy.
I'll throw
Spell check.
Goku in there as well. No, I really
Alright.
love that answer. I could tell like the amount of like passion and just design into this game that you're when you're speaking about it. So really love hearing that answer. Let's hop into the next question here. How does the game balance player freedom and creativity within the survival on a loop mechanics create a compelling gameplay experience for the end user?
Ooh, that's a super hard question. And I mean, again, I don't think I'm the right one to answer that question properly. But what I can do is I can answer from, let's say, my gamer point of view. And how I see that is like it's again gonna be tied to the sandbox structure that we are gonna implement into the game. So the balancing is gonna come through probably later. What I mean is we know and we are aware that a Web3 game needs to be like balanced to a certain level, even though if it's in like super early stages. Because otherwise some players can just like hack the system, create like a let's call it like a buggy build and kill everyone, collect all the resources. And but to balance things out, we still need the data. So how I feel it's gonna go like is first we are gonna open our public alpha, public beta, whenever that is, and I feel like it's gonna be in the next few months. So for that, we are gonna start collecting data right away. So we can start balancing things out in terms of like maybe like the average damages of different weapons, average damages of certain items, like I don't know, the effects on some characters' stats or abilities on the again damage, etc. And of course, it's gonna be depending on the data, but we don't have that yet.
Absolutely. Love that answer. Before we go to the next question here, I want to hop over to Mizzy. He's got a special announcement for us.
Well, it's about that time again, guys. We're getting close to the end of the show. We still have a little time to go. Before we end the show, we would like to drop this episode's boss battle cartridge. We didn't tell you this about the show, but what we like to do for every episode is we make a special gaming cartridge to honor the guest. If either Clouds, the Icon, or Hado can pull it up on the screen here so you can look at it. It's in the comment section, everyone. You have to check the comment section on the tweet. You can claim it. It's a free collectible NFT badge. And, we will be giving more details soon on what these badges mean within the Catalyst ecosystem. You don't even need a wallet to collect it. You can claim it with your email or your wallet on an EVM chain. But, go in there, collect it, and let's get it. Clouds is about to pull up the art right now.
There it is, guys. There it is.
You mind zooming in on it a little bit?
Ooh, let me see if I can zoom in. Hold on.
That's
Control
one of the better
mouse
ones.
wheel.
I like it.
Control mouse wheel.
Yeah, I know, brother. I know. I'm not that big of a this fucking guy, bro. I don't think it's gonna get any bigger than that, though.
No, I mean that's good. That's good.
All right. Well,
Yeah. We'll fix
just
it
make
for the
sure to
next
check it on
episode, just to
make
screenshot.
sure to check it on the post below, guys. Love working on these. Shout out Damien. We collaborate on these every week, and I hope you like it as well, Gokhan. We made custom art just in honor of Providence, and we put it on the cartridge.
Dude,
Shout out Providence.
Yeah, it looks super sick. Definitely go check it out, guys.
Man, looks amazing. Thanks, guys. By the way, on my second screen, I was checking it because the notification arrived on Providence account right away. So it looks good.
Awesome. Glad you like it, man.
Fantastic. Well, we'll kick it back over to Icon for the second to last question of the twin-headed Hydra. Take it away.
Yeah, so pretty simple question. Can you explain the role of the NFTs in the Providence game?
Ooh, role of the NFTs.
Simple question, maybe a complicated
Yeah,
answer.
I'm not gonna give a complicated answer. NFTs are gonna be the main drivers of our player-driven economy. Like I mentioned, like if we can implement the randomization that I mentioned, so it's gonna be the main thing. So we don't need to, maybe we are not gonna need thousands of different NFTs, but based on the randomization of the stats, they can be valuable even though they have like the same total stats even same name, maybe even like same visuals. Based on the stats, they are going to define their value by on the market by the players. So that's going to be the main thing. Second thing is, like I mentioned, NFTs are going to be mainly for itemization. They are going to be mainly for strength of your weapon. Let's say with the nested NFTs, they are going to be tied to your firepower right away. And apart from it, like let's say the in-game stuff that I mentioned, what we are going to have in the future is like, of course, we are planning some cosmetic NFTs that's going to be released with partnership to, like, I don't know, maybe some worldwide brands, maybe some DAOs, maybe sports teams. That's also what we are planning. And we want to tie all those NFTs to a unique in-game cosmetic so that they are going to be also valuable on the, let's say, secondary market. So either you can use them to be completely different than everyone, or you can sell them on the market.
Very cool. I like that.
Yo, can you like? I just a question. You said sports teams. Like, is there anything that you guys have coming up on that, or is that still like to be determined?
Just not the
Uh,
Cowboys.
no. I said esports teams.
Okay. I was like, sports teams. Oh, okay. It's like a whole new realm.
Why
Awesome.
not? I mean, a lot of sports teams got into esports. And by the way, for that note, I am a supporter of Beşiktaş from Turkey, and Beşiktaş was the first, let's say, professional sports team that got into esports with their official name. So I'm kind of
Oh,
proud of that.
that's pretty
Okay.
cool. Do you know what esports they got into? Was it like League
Yeah,
of Legends
yeah,
or?
it was League of Legends. Then they expanded into FIFA, as far as I know, Counter Strike.
That's pretty cool, man.
The only team that I know of that did that was the FC Schalke, or however you say that. So that's
I
Yeah,
the
there
only
know
were
one I
it.
a
know
lot
of.
of
I think
teams.
it's the Mavericks. Mavericks are into esports too.
Well, there's a whole 2K esports league. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hop into the last question here. And by the way, guys, be on the lookout for the poll. Damien will be putting it in the comment section, so check out the poll there. Whenever it's posted. How does the player-driven economy in Providence work, and what opportunities does it provide for players to control in the in-game markets?
Like I mentioned earlier, we are not gonna meddle with the in-game economy at all. It's gonna be completely player-driven. So you harvest resources, you can put them on the market, or you can keep them for yourself for your future crafting needs. And if you want, you can just like keep all of them in your inventory so that you reduce the items on the market. So when the price goes up, you can just sell them if you wish. And again, like I mentioned, we are not gonna sell weapons directly. For example, you cannot buy an item from us, then just go sell it on the marketplace to gain advantage from other players. We are never gonna do that. If we sell something, it's gonna be just cosmetic, and probably we are not even gonna sell that. We are just gonna use them for partnerships, etc. And uh, again, another thing for the player-driven marketplace is we want players to control not only the in-game marketplace, but also the usage and value of our Providence tokens that we are going to release in the coming months. So the reason for that is, and how we say, let's say, balance everything out is I can give you some. I mean, they're not exactly off the record, but I can give you some info on our tokenomics because, like, on another note, we don't mention anything regarding tokenomics, blockchain, etc. most of the time in our social media because we want to focus on the game itself. So, for example, our investors from like 3, 4 years ago, their cliff did not even start yet, and after 12 months of cliff, they are gonna have 12 months of vesting. So let's say, and like the whole team, advisors, blah blah, all of those allocated tokens are not gonna hit the market until like I don't know 1, 2 years later. So whatever happens on the marketplace is going to affect directly the value of the token. So if there is interest, the let's say value of the Providence token is going to increase, and of course, in the marketplace, all of the other in-game resources that are directly connected to the token are going to increase.
Awesome. We love that answer. Well, we got some minutes here on the poll. I think it's about like 2 or 3 minutes left. So this is your chance to kind of give to the audience like why you deserve an A, why they should vote for you for an A, stuff like that. So just shout yourself out and promote yourself, kind of thing.
I mean, can I bribe them directly? If if,
Hey man, listen, our ears are shut during this time. You do you, man.
That would be a first. I don't think we've had anyone bribe the audience before.
man, if I'm getting a nice result, I'm handing out like minimum of 10 keys, maybe even more right now.
Oh, and that's not a
Early
bad
access to game.
bribe. That's a pretty good bribe right there, actually. Oh man. Well, we got some time here to spare. Any of the panelists want to chime in on what they think of Providence and stuff like that?
Dude, I absolutely love it. First of all, Goken, thank you so much for being here with us, man. We know it's a little late for you over there. We appreciate you being a legend and coming on the show. I love Providence, man. Me and Missy kind of hopped in there together and we went exploring. We did a bunch of like extracting. We got to know the game a little bit, right? I love the fact that you guys put different tools that you can build when you're out in the world that you get to like extract and stuff to like make looting easier or like resource gathering easier, right? Like I love that little machine that you can just kind of push the trees into it and it turns them into like the plank of woods or whatever, like the like the fabricated wood already. I think little things like that is really cool, man. I love the aspect of the vehicles, like I said earlier. I didn't even know that you could get inside the ship that you can call to come pick up your loot. I found that out later when I joined this random guy's lobby and he got in and I was like, what the heck? He's flying in that thing. That's awesome. So really cool game. I'm super hyped for all the new updates that are coming and all the things that you guys are working on. So yeah, man, super hyped to continue playing it.
Great to hear that, man. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can also sense that as a gamer, I'm also like super excited regarding the future of Providence. Like, again, this is my honest opinion. Still, we are probably one of the best games in Web3 right now. But in the future, we are not going to have any rivals in terms of like how the game is going to look like when we finish the product.
Quick question. I know you were talking a lot about esports and stuff like that. Are you guys looking into like getting into that world with Providence or exploring that a little bit more?
Yep, not right away, but we have our talks with some esports teams and they are going to help us kickstart things. And like I mentioned, as the meta of the game is going to be completely like in a sandbox structure, we love esports players to come in, play, experiment with us. And of course, another alpha that I can give is like, as the marketing guy of the team, what I'm planning in the future is we are going to create definitely a meta website and it's going to look like, Hearthstone in Hearthstone, for example, or TF Tactics in League of Legends TFT. We are going to have a meta website and we are going to reward players who get upvoted a lot. I don't know, or like if their builds, team builds, itemization builds used a lot. Of course, we are going to definitely reward them with like either Providence tokens, cash, whatever. So,
Dude, that's freaking awesome, man. I cannot wait for that. Giving a quick shout out to Justin Lucas. He's kind of vouching for you here. He says, no, oh, I went up too much. It's this one. No bribes needed. Providence is a game that you should not be sleeping on, and he's giving you an A. Let's fucking go. All right, Hado, kicking it back to you, man.
Yeah, I just want to say esports. I just want to say one thing. Fanatic. I'm sorry if you like Fanatic. All right. I just had to get that out of the way. Man, get out of here. Best logo in esports. Sorry, I'm a little biased. All right. So going over the bosses here on boss number 1, he scored 100%. 100% on A.
Let's fucking
boss
go.
number 2, not so good as well as the first one. You did an 85.7. Yeah, 85.7. Okay. But on the last boss, you got another 100. So you absolutely crushed it. Your final score is 95%, and you absolutely crushed it. You have defeated the boss, and we'll be sending you a trophy.
Let's fucking go.
Nice.
Congrats.
Absolutely.
Congrats, Gokon. That'll be coming over the coming weeks. There's a much larger thing at play with those trophies, but you'll find out when the time comes.
Nice.
Let's fucking go.
That kind of concludes today's show. If anyone has any closing thoughts, I'll let you guys have the floor real fast. Anybody? Closing thoughts?
No, go check out Providence. Give them a follow on all socials, and definitely check out Catalyst. Check out Jaikon, Hado, all the panelists, and thank you for everyone for being here with us.
Yes, and use Catalyst 20 on your cushy dreams deals. Yes, sir. Thanks for
Let's fucking
watching this
go.
episode of Boss Battle, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week. Same place, same time.
Peace.
Peace.
Hey,
Peace.
guys, thank you.